In the greenest of our valleys, by good angels tenanted, once a fair and stately palace, radiant palace, reared its head. In the monarch thought's dominion it stood there. Never seraph spread a pinion over fabric half so fair. Banners yellow, glorious, golden, on its roof did float and flow. This, all this, was in the olden time, long ago. And every gentle air that dallied in that sweet day, along the ramparts plumbed and pallid, a winged odor went away. Wanderers in that happy valley through two luminous windows saw spirits moving musically to a lute's well-tuned law, round about a throne where, sitting, Porphyrogene, in state his glory well befitting, the ruler of the realm was seen. And all with pearl and ruby glowing was the fair palace door, through which came flowing, and sparkling evermore, a troop of echoes whose sweet duty was but to sing, in voices of surpassing beauty, the wit and wisdom of their king. But evil things in robes of sorrow assailed the monarch's high estate. Ah, let us mourn, for never morrow shall dawn upon him desolate. And round about his home the glory that blushed and bloomed is but a dim remembered story of the old time entombed. And travelers, now within that valley, through the red-litten windows see vast forms that move fantastically to a discordant melody, while, like a ghastly rapid river, through the pale door, a hideous throng rush out forever and laugh, but smile no more. Thus reads The Haunted Palace by Edgar Allan Poe. And I want to take a little bit of a closer look at this poem sort of stanza by stanza. And then I want to zoom in order that we might zoom out. Or maybe it's zooming out in order that we might zoom in. I have spent about a half an hour now trying to figure out how to word that one sentence because I am not sure quite which is most appropriate, but I think we will get into that as we go. So, what are we talking about? In the greenest of our valleys. I think this is necessary to take a look at. In the greenest of our valleys, by good angels tenanted, once a fair and stately palace, radiant place, reared its head. Stately palace, radiant palace. Okay, so this is our land, and there is a radiant palace here in the monarch thought's dominion. Interesting choice of phrase. Banners. Yellow. Banners. You have banners to celebrate something, yes? You have banners to signify some type of unity. Sports banners are for the unity of that year's accomplishment. War banners are for the unity of that war's victory, etc. Yellow, glorious, golden, on its roof did float and flow. All this was in the olden time, long ago. Okay, well, that's a bit of a strange that's a bit of a strange timing for a poem. This is a poem written for the past, right? This isn't first person present. This is third person past tense. This kind of its second person past tense. And every gentle air that dallied in that sweet day, Along the ramparts plumbed and pallid, a winged odor went away. Winged odor went away. Some bad guy, some bad smell had gone away. Wanderers in that happy valley through two luminous windows saw spirits moving musically to a lute's well-tuned law. So wanderers there saw these wonderful things going on and didn't quite understand them, but knew that there was some order happening. In state his glory well befitting, the ruler of the realm was seen. These all just seem like random things to be saying about in a poem about a haunted palace. But okay, we'll go with it. And all with pearl and ruby glowing was the fair palace door, through which came flowing, 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 and sparkling evermore a troop of echoes, whose sweet duty was but to sing in voices of surpassing beauty the wit and wisdom of their king. But evil things in robes of sorrow assailed the monarch's high estate. Ah, let us mourn, for never morrow shall dawn upon him desolate. And round about his home the glory that blushed and bloomed is but a dim remembered story of the old time entombed. And travelers now within that valley, not ours any longer, that valley, through red-litten windows, see vast forms that move fantastically to a discordant melody, while like ghastly rapid river through the pale door a hideous throng rush out forever, and laugh, but smile no more. Now, I think that in order to better appreciate this poem, it would help for us to analyze another poem. And if you've been on the channel for any period of time, it should come as no surprise to you that that poem comes to us from Emily Dickinson. One need not be a chamber to be haunted. One need not be a house. The brain has corridors surpassing material place, far safer of a midnight meeting external ghosts than an interior confronting that cooler host. Far safer through an abbey gallop, the stones a chase, than moonless one's a self encounter in lonesome place. Ourself behind, ourself concealed, should startle most. Assassin hid in our apartment, be horror's least. The prudent carries a revolver. He bolts the door, o'erlooking a superior spectre more near. So, you have the idea of the haunted place, a haunted palace, a haunted house, a haunted graveyard, whatever it is, a haunted place. But if Emily Dickinson is telling us, and I think she's very correct here, one need not be a chamber to be haunted. And this, I think this sounds fair to anyone who is seriously taking poetry, correct? One need not be a chamber to be haunted, meaning you are here, you have done things in the past, things have been done to you in the past, you have done regrettable things, you have been through things which were regrettable to you. All of these things are true. All of these things probably are true on a daily basis. Any of these things can haunt us. Right? That makes sense. One need not be a chamber to be haunted. An individual can be haunted. Surely this rings true. Surely the idea of a person having their own spectral guests is something that is not all that hard to translate from literature into life. So we have this idea of the haunted place. What is the haunted place? The place which is haunted is like the individual who is haunted, probably regretting things from the past. And so, I want to ask the question, if a person can be haunted, if a place can be haunted, then we go way up here to the beginning of this poem and ask, can a society be haunted? Can civilization be rotted to the extent that the past creeps up to the present? So what is society if not a collection of individuals? What is civilization if not a collection of places? What is a nation if not a collection of places? If all of these things being equal are just collections of one another, why could not a society be haunted? Which begs the question, is that what we're speaking about in this poem? In the greenest of our valleys, that sounds like a nation. A once fair and stately palace. Surely, how does that not sound like a castle? How does that not sound like the White House? How does that not sound like any other presiding building in government? Radiant palace reared its head in the monarch thought's dominion. Then there's those banners. In the olden time, long ago, I think no matter when you live, you are haunted by the specter of past generations who had it harder to give you what you have in order that your life be easier. Could you live in those previous times? Could you do what they had done before you? Could you have fought off the villains of those days? And now, we don't own this society. We merely, my generation, is kind of passing through, we feel like. We didn't win the Second World War. We didn't build the great buildings of our country. We did not create the great statues around us. We are wanderers in that happy valley. Through two luminous windows, we saw spirits moving musically. We did not understand how. We just saw that. And I think, the ruler of the realm was seen, right? How easy is it to see those who claim power in today's world? The troop of echoes blushed and bloomed, a dim remembered story of an old time entombed. And we might laugh, but are we smiling? I think it's easy to interpret the line of laughing without smiling as maniacal. I think it's also easy to interpret the line of laughing without smiling as adopting absurdism, right? This was sort of the line of thought that we get from the postmoderns. And look, hail them as you may or hate them as you may, they had lines of thought that were concurrent with their time. How could you look at the world in the wake of, the atom bomb and say, oh yeah, this all makes sense still? You can't. It doesn't. Sense and sensibility are from a bygone era. So, like Camus says, you wake up every morning and you have one question. You going to do it again? You don't have to. But it's necessary to realize that in the wake of that question, civilization has the same question. Today, it's not just that you could answer that question to the negatory. We could wake up and the world leaders have decided that question for us. We live in the absolute absurd. You may as well laugh, because never again are you going to get to smile. Now The question of absurdism, the adoption of absurdism, an offshoot perhaps of nihilism, is to reclaim the smile for yourself. To say, well, I get to decide. I don't just have to laugh maniacally. I can smile if I want. The absurdist, the nihilistic view of the universe, which I think is oftentimes maligned. I'm a nihilistic defender. Nihilism is a humanism. Oftentimes, nihilist viewpoints are maligned as simplistic. I do not think that is the case. In this worldview, the worldview of nihilism, the worldview maybe less so of absurdism, what someone has to do is decide that there is meaning in their universe. You wake up and you get to decide. Non servia. I'm not doing this anymore. You can do that. But if you decide not to, if you decide to, you have to do it. If you decide not to make that decision and keep on living, you may as well decide that that is for a reason, that is for a purpose. You get to construct that reason. You get to construct that purpose. Decide it for yourself, adopt it, and wave that banner. This is a little bit why we have seen the fall of nationalism, but it doesn't have to be. We could all decide to be pro-nation. We could. The Western movement has largely been pro-individual, but I think we're seeing more and more each day that being individuals leaves you largely powerless against the organized. So what is one to do? What is one to do? And you may as well laugh. But you might as well choose for what reason you will smile. That is all I have for this episode. If you enjoy or appreciate what I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out on the channel, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing I talk about on this channel. There is literature, there is poetry to be had every Monday. We are currently in October, where we will have Edgar Allan Poe 3 times a week, and there are short stories on the channel, novels, etc. I drop multiple videos every week, and I hope to have you back for the next one.